and I try to everybody. It's really. I don't.
If you ask me a question, you're okay with it in my report.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's all.
If it was something to do with any person.
Yep, exactly.
And that would be the only time we would something. Good.
Yep. Good, thank you.
All set, Liv? Good. All right, could we call this meeting to order and please stand? And if we could just have a moment of silence again and united with the people of Ukraine in support of what they're going through over there. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. Just for a point of matter, Councilman Granville is zooming in tonight from 110 Tanya Street, Los Alamos, New Mexico. Hello, Jim out there. For tonight, our work session, we're going to start with the ODA on 110 Ellis Drive in West Falls. And William, how you doing?
Good.
Doing well. So it pretty much looks like you've got everything in order. You've got your dates down here about how everything was accomplished. And I think we're at the point of the town board looking at approving this tonight.
Correct. Yes.
Is there anything that you wanted to add to it or?
I just have one quick question for you, William.
Yep.
It looks like on your topo map that you've got some pretty substantial buffers or some wooded buffers.
Yes.
Just briefly, what kind of buffers do you have for your neighbors? Mostly to the east of you on Old Glenwood. How does that really look in reality? I mean, is it good sized trees and you see right through the pine trees, or is it some brush or?
So the majority of the property is all wooded, and I've only cleared what I needed to build. So,
Mature woods?
Mature, yeah. I mean, the previous owner, he probably logged
Sorry,
it, but he
can
was
you
actually
just-
rather selective.
Can you talk a little closer to the microphone? Sorry.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm afraid of microphones.
I know they're very scary.
Yes. Now I can hear myself. I don't like that. But it's fully wooded property, mature. I mean, it's varying degree. It's kind of typical around here. I would say anything that was overly mature, he had chopped down. So, but that being said, I was still cutting down some trees that were 20 to 24 inches. But the majority of what's around is probably in the 12 to 16 range. Unfortunately, between me and my neighbors on Old Glenwood, the majority of that is ash, mostly in the 12-inch range that have, since I've owned the property, gradually decayed and died. So the past few windstorms have taken out the majority of them. But the nice part is I have new growth coming in. That's probably 10 years or younger. But that's pretty much replacing everything, all the taller ashes. They're probably about 15 to 20 foot tall at this point. So in the spring to fall, it's pretty well dense. There is a small section, the property when I bought it, there's a little bit of a clearing in the center, which is where I built the current residence. That has a little bit of a clearing between that residence and the one neighbor on Old Glenwood. I think their number is 35, I think. When I built in 2014, well, cleared in 14, built in 15, I started planting trees. Since then, I've planted probably 40 spruces in that area. I think at least 20 to 25 of them are still alive. Now they're about 5 to 6 foot tall on average.
Perfect.
And hopefully in a few more years, they'll be taller.
Mhm. Good, thank you.
Anybody else? Joe, Luke, any questions?
I'll have to say, I was at the ZBA meeting, your last one, and they really put you through the ringer. So
Oh, yes. Yeah.
you stood up to a barrage of questions, and it's a pretty unique lot, even though it ends up being an ODA,
Yes.
but it's quite a big area back there that you have.
Oh, yes, very much so.
Yeah.
It's my flag is 9 foot tall. Or sorry, my pole is 9 foot tall before my flag. That's what I meant.
Gotcha.
Anything, Luke? Nothing? I have nothing. It looks like you've gotten everything in order very well here. It's been approved, recommended by the planning and zoning, and Chuck, are you good?
Yeah.
You guys are good for
I'm
the
fine.
agenda then?
Yep.
Okay, unless you have something to add, and put it on the agenda for.
No, you guys have a full agenda.
Okay. All right, the baseball agreement. Jeff, how you doing? How's it going? So I'm not too sure if you got the last,
I have a version dated March 28th. So yeah, I think that would be
Tough to
You
get
just,
newer than that.
You can take out the microphone, just speak into the microphone.
the, sure.
You can take it out if it's easier and
Oh, okay.
Yeah. however you want to do it.
I'll just go over the, some of the questions. I think I've answered myself tonight with the bathrooms. I think we can work that out.
Okay.
As far as, between Dave and ourselves, as far as, the maintenance. Seeing that, I think the program that we're gonna adhere to now, after talking to Chuck and Joe and that, is we're not gonna renovate or build until the fall. So you'll still be using the pool. And I talked to Dave and he's gonna help us out, and I would just ask that someone from your group, when they are open to you, monitors what's going on in there. That's all.
Sure, sure. And it's my understanding from.
Could we have your name, sir?
Yeah, Jeff Boz.
Jeff.
Yeah. And it's my understanding from talking to one of our other board members that the access to the pool from the outside is locked. So players and families can't go from the baseball fields into the bathrooms, into the pool. So hopefully that will take care of that concern.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
The only other thing that I don't think, and we were on Zoom last week and we didn't hear any of the conversation, but discussion of the maintenance fee. And we talked about this last year, right, Dave?
Yeah, did you want to talk a little bit about the baseball diamond dirt? Okay.
Well, no, we're
No,
talking,
okay.
not right now, we're talking about the baseball agreement with,
This the fee we charge for grooming it.
right.
Yes, and it's sufficient.
So
Okay.
I don't know what that number was. At $1,000? I think
No, I think it was per time, or is it a flat rate?
well, you don't remember either.
No, I think
Yeah.
it is a flat rate. You're right. The beer leagues are per time. The rec department handled that, Jim. So I'm sorry, I just don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, we in the past, I believe we have not paid.
No, for the mowing of the fields and so forth.
We made donations to the town of $2,500 for diamond dirt on multiple years.
I almost don't think we do charge them for grooming, but I
Yeah.
could be wrong. I think it
We
was
have
20.
we have a,
Could we get your name too, sir?
My name is Bill Woldarzik.
You want to step up also, or?
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
My name is Bill Woldarzik. I'm also on the baseball board. I can spell it WLODARCZYK. That's it.
That's it. There's no more. That's all. That's all there
That's
is.
all.
We'll go with
Okay.
Bill.
I suffer from those jokes as well. Don't worry about it.
well, there isn't anything mentioned in the new agreement for that. So I know there was in the old agreement. Such as the soccer fields, we charge them for mowing and stuff, correct, Dave?
Yeah, I agree. I'm sorry. Wasn't in that negotiation when we turned it over from the town to their own leagues. I don't remember the rec department did it. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we, just to get them started, we didn't charge anything for now.
No,
and it
it's,
was-
we just found it. It's number 6 on page 6. It's number 16.
Yeah.
Right.
And it just says baseball agrees to pay the town an blank annual during this time in the agreement in effect, and the baseball's contribution to cost, including maintenance, upkeep, equipment, purchases, and improvements to the ball diamond and fields. It's kind of the same thing that we've done with the Arsenals.
Right, the Arsenals has a flat rate, but maybe, I don't know if anybody on the rec is on Zoom or something, maybe they answer, but I wasn't a part of that.
So
Sorry.
We don't really have to vote on this tonight. I mean, we can wait till Amy's back and maybe she's got some notes on it.
Yeah.
And maybe the fact that because you are donating towards the.
Right, yeah,
Diamond-
we haven't paid any fees to the town for.
No, because we haven't had an agreement yet.
Right, okay, gotcha.
But that is in our agreement. It's in our agreement with the Arsenals also. And I certainly don't want to, charge one person and not the other. I don't think that would be fair either.
Have the Arsenals made any contributions for us for the Diamond Dirt? I guess is my question. Is there similar? I just don't know how it all works. in
No,
dollars.
Arsenals doesn't have material needs. It's just mowing needs. So it's not.
Right. Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is it kind of one, so we are paying something, I guess, at this
Yeah,
point.
and that might be very well. This has been going on pre-COVID, so
Right.
I can blame COVID on this. I can't remember.
Sure.
So that would be one thing that we have to iron out. Okay.
Mhm.
And maybe we wait till Amy gets back and talk to her. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, in terms of that, figure out what's fair for mowing, and then there most likely will be a Diamond Dirt contribution as well.
Mhm.
But that's a big area, and it's pretty much given over to baseball in its entirety.
Right.
So I think, as Supervisor Bach said, to charge Arsenal and not charge another private sports organization certainly wouldn't seem fair. Now, what about the rest of the agreement, though? Do you have any other issues with the rest of the agreement?
There were a couple of things that I had added or suggested in paragraphs 8 and 9, the indemnity and additional insurance provisions. I had suggested that we make the indemnity provision in paragraph 8 reciprocal, so that if the way it reads now, if the town is sued as a result of the baseball and softball organization's negligence, we would indemnify the town, which is fine. And I thought it would be fair that if the opposite of that happens, that if somebody gets hurt as a result of the negligence of the town, and we both get sued, then the town would indemnify the baseball organization. And I'm thinking of something like a player, twists his ankle in a woodchuck hole in the outfield. The town maintains the fields, so that would be, the town's responsibility. On the other hand, if somebody gets hit by a bat during a game, that's our responsibility. So obviously, if the town got sued because somebody got hit with a bat, we would indemnify the town. So that was, I think that's in an agreement like this. So
I would defer to our supervisor and our town attorney on that, because I don't think that was our understanding.
I don't believe it's in our Arsenal agreement that we identify them. Didn't you just pull that out? Was that?
Yeah, I don't have the Arsenal agreement in front of me, but the reason the town is hesitant to make the indemnification provision reciprocal to benefit the baseball club is because it's town property. If the baseball programs weren't playing on the field, there would be no risk of any loss to the town. It's not until you bring your program onto the fields that the risk of somebody tripping in a woodchuck pit out in the field or something like that arises. But it's in the best interest of the town and the town taxpayers for those risks associated with the program on town grounds to be retained by the baseball program. And that's what your insurance policies
Sure.
are in place for, to protect you.
So, another way of addressing it is what I suggested in paragraph 9, which is that, we are naming the town as an additional insured on our liability insurance policy, but the town could also name baseball as an additional insured on its liability policy. And I believe in most situations, there's no cost to that. So, that's something we had requested as well. If the baseball and softball organization could be named as an additional insured on the town's policy, I think that would satisfy the concerns that I had raised about, if a player gets injured as a result of the condition of the field, then, we would be entitled to additional insured status under the town's policy. So, if that is something that you could look into, we'd appreciate that.
But if someone gets injured on the field and it's a result of the town's failure to upkeep the field, how would you be liable for that?
I mean, you can't prevent somebody from suing us.
Right. No, they would sue you, but would they win if the town was responsible for having the woodchuck hole?
Right.
So
Well,
you wouldn't really be liable for that, would you? Unless it was
No, we still
proven
have
that.
to, we still have to pay the defense costs, and that can be significant. So that's, the insurance coverage would also provide a defense. So.
Are you able to provide any examples of other municipalities that provide this indemnification?
Not in the context of a recreation league, but in construction contracts, which is what I see a lot, all the time. It happens all the time.
But they're not the same thing.
Right, but it's the same principle. You've got, people coming onto a property with different roles, different responsibilities. And if an accident happens, everybody gets sued. And the additional insurance kind of helps sort it out and allocate the risk to the party who's actually responsible. So, but like I say, I don't think there would be any cost to the town to name baseball and softball as an additional insured. If there was a cost, I would understand that. But I bet if you call your agent, they'll tell you there's no cost.
I would have to put that to our, but it's, you can get rated, if there is an event, but I think I'd like to do some research on that one.
And I mean, neither of these things are deal breakers.
No.
I just, I thought it would be something that would, and there's not a lot of risk in baseball and softball. We're not talking about football or, more contact sports, but, it's just a way of allocating the risk. And that's, kind of my job to.
Was there anything else on the agreement? Or is,
no, the payment, the bathrooms, and those two provisions. So
Okay.
that was it.
I think the bathrooms we've already kind of figured that one out. So,
Right.
I just have one quick question on the bathrooms, Jim.
Yeah.
Because it states here, baseball, softball is responsible for the proper use, cleanup, and supervision of the lavatory facilities during practice and games. Excuse me. There are times, I believe, when pool, when we're using the pool and baseball overlap.
Right.
And I think that was the big issue last year, was because obviously you have a little bit of dirt on your cleats when you walk in, and then somebody comes out of the pool. Well, okay. I just want to make sure that we're all saying that according to this agreement, that you are responsible for the cleanup and supervision of the lavatory facilities.
Well, we don't want to be in the position of having to have parents or volunteer coaches clean up the bathroom. So that's something I think we need to talk more about, because that's, it's hard enough getting parents to do anything with a league like this. And if you tell somebody, hey, you're on bathroom duty tonight,
Yeah.
it's going to be a problem. I'm afraid it's just not going to get done. So we don't want to agree to something that we know is going to be difficult to do.
Yeah.
I did talk to Dave earlier, and seeing that we're going to be doing our construction in the fall, we want to just get through this season. Dave has offered to help with the cleaning of the restrooms this
Yeah,
year.
Chuck, you're right. Your memory. The problem wasn't during the regular baseball season. It was only when the two played the same night.
Right.
And normally for baseball. It just waits to the following morning, and Jason does during the bathroom run for all the bathrooms. But what was an issue was when they were playing and swimming at the same time, the swimmers felt that it needed to be kept cleaner. So we put on a night person for that short time. At that time, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the leagues donated some money towards the cost to that because there was added cost, but at least got us through the year. And our only alternative was a porta john. So, just so you know what we did in the past.
Right. We did contribute bathroom supplies. That's what you're referring to.
Okay.
And
I think we'd be
I
willing to
only
do
asked
that
if we
again.
could just make sure we have supervision there.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's
Okay.
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 And work through it.
Can I circle back to just the fee again?
Sure.
Because Amy's going to defer to me as the treasurer as to what we can afford. It's a really tight budget, and I think our numbers are smaller even than last year coming off of COVID. But just if I can get a better understanding of what you keep comparing to Arsenal, if we can see what Arsenal's agreement looks like for fees. And then with regards to the $2,500 we've donated, I think in successive years, just bear in mind that those fields are not just used by East Aurora baseball. So as we are providing the diamond dirt, it's used by the Action Club. It's used by any other outsiders that want to rent from the rec department. And I believe dirt also may go to, and correct me if I'm wrong, to
West Falls.
to West Falls, which we don't use.
Right. But the town's going to be, is preparing to contribute some money towards dirt this year through the ARP funds.
Right. I just want to balance out the diamond dirt costs, the donation we make with the fee. So to say someone else is paying a fee and we're not, and they don't have materials, well, our materials go to other people as well.
I can assure you all the diamond dirt, all the money that you put towards diamond dirt, that dirt went to the pool park. if
Oh,
you
just to
will,
that part?
And not West Falls.
Okay. But others do use that. So I'm just not,
Yep.
it's
you're
not
right.
just for our own personal use. I just
Yeah,
want to have that on the
the
record.
point is valid that you are paying for that as well, and other people are using it, and that should be considered when calculating a fee for the year. That's
Perfect.
a very
Thank
valid
you.
point. Yep.
Point well taken.
Thanks.
So I'll research those items
Okay.
and we'll continue it probably at the next meeting, if that's okay. If you have anything, you guys have my email, my phone.
Okay. Thank you.
We can talk.
When does your season start up?
I think mid-April.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we got a meeting on the 11th. Would it be after the 11th?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's always an aspirational starting date because it's always too wet. So.
Yeah.
And you have a bathroom meeting set up with you two guys, right? And Dave, some date this week. Yeah. So
Some coming up.
Yeah, I had a question for Jeff regarding the indemnification.
Oh, hi, Jim.
Hello, Jeff, how are you? Jim Granville here. Just quickly, and we'll have our town attorney take a look at it, but your understanding, if we did indemnify baseball, what your understanding would be as far as joint and several liability of, if someone was hurt, unfortunately, catastrophically, and there was a lawsuit and it went beyond your $1 million policy, and they found the town to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 10% liable, we would then be liable for overage beyond your coverage, I would presume.
Right. I would imagine in a case like that, both the town and the baseball organization would be sued. And, and then it would depend on how the facts of the case shake out. But yeah, joint and several liability, would be an issue there. And the way I had drafted the indemnity was that we would only have to indemnify the town for liability arising out of our negligence and vice versa. So.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff.
Okay. Thanks, Jim.
Anybody else? Anything else? Okay, we'll get back to you.
Okay.
Probably on the next agenda, so.
Thanks.
Thank you.
and thanks, guys. We know it's difficult. Thank you for doing it for the kids. We'll get there.
Next on the work session is the senior exemption increase. So the county state has increase the minimum income, which would increase their exemption. You guys read through this, you're all,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
pretty basic, so you good with that?
Yeah, I think we have to add it to the agenda, right?
Yeah. It's on here, right? Yeah. 5A.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it on there.
Which one is it?
5A. All right, next is the Community Development Block Grant that we were awarded, which was $95,190. And the activity for the project would include removing 5 existing exterior doors and the purchase of new ones, new handicap door openers, exterior doors, and 2 interior lobby doors. And the LED light project involves the retrofitting of 100+ fluorescent fixtures and LED bulbs. So nice chunk of money that we're getting. I just need you guys to authorize me to sign this agreement.
No objections when it comes up on the agenda?
All for it. Who's going to object to get $90,000?
Seniors are.
Okay. Next, this is just a request from Kathleen Moffett, Capital Project 87. Had a cash deficit of $9,869.12. To remedy this, she respectfully requests approval to create a interest-free interfund loan from General Fund A to DA, which is the Highway Town-wide Fund, in the amount of $9,869.12. These funds will be transferred to the Capital Project 87 Village Bridge repairs to make a capital project whole. Any questions on that? Okay. That is on the agenda also. This one, I think maybe, Joe, you probably want to talk a little bit about this, right? You brought it up, the Majors Park Hubbard entrance.
Yeah, certainly. Orlando's not here, I do not believe, but resident Orlando Monaco, who's done some work at Sinking Ponds of his own volunteering, has created a elaborate proposal to do some landscaping at the Hubbard Park at Hubbard Road entrance to Majors Park. Our idea was to refer this to the Open Space Committee and let them take a look at it and decide, the appropriateness of making improvements to, what has sort of been deemed a passive park and whether or not that work is appropriate. So that's how I would summarize it.
Okay. Dave, you have anything to add to that, or?
Yeah, I encourage the resident came to see me. We showed him the map. I think he's got some great ideas. I just worry about it being maintenance free is my concern. Anything that we build there, I really want to be, maintenance free, because we just don't have the staff. So I think it's great that he cares, and I'm just not sure if it's a great idea. Leave it at that.
What would we need to do as far as a board to approve, or? I mean,
I think we send to the Open Space Committee, let them work on it and come back with something, and we can maybe do the planning as well. I don't know. But I would agree with Dave. I don't know if this proposal really fits with the park, but I would like to get the opinions of other people and to see. So
yeah, it's something you said, Luke, is we've actually talked to some more residents about it. I'm not sure even if the residents around her for it. It's one individual. He's done a great job for the village at the Sinking Ponds. I'm just not sure, one guy's vision may not be exactly what the neighbors like. So I think we need to look at that better. And if you want to have a different board look at it that has time, I don't know what else you could do with this.
Would it require an investment from the town? Okay.
Yes.
So we need prices. And
Yeah, he's looking to, he wants to purchase some mature trees, and it's not big bucks, but it's bucks.
Okay.
It's not nothing.
So
How big? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
How big of an area are we looking at here, Dave? Because there's really no scale on this that I can see.
Yeah, the main thing that started, we have the old Boy Scout sign there has kind of become dilapidated. It was built out of sticks about 10 years ago. So he saw that, but then he's talking about like a garden area in front
Well,
of
in the
that.
parking lot area, I know you've been building that out a little
Yeah.
bit over time here, but that's got to be quite a project to
Yeah, and
bring
honestly,
fill
I
in.
told him that I it's not just it's a parking lot. Right now, I just delivered 1,000 ton of stone up there. It's actually a staging area that we use for the highway during our work projects. So, I don't know if he realizes that we actually have a utilization for that. It's not meant to be actually a parking lot. It's just a staging area for
Oh,
me.
so are you saying that what's there now, more or less, anyway, once you level things off and so on, is about the size of what we're thinking here? Or do you have to build it out another?
No, I would
30
not.
feet.
I haven't seen his plan, Chuck, but no, absolutely, we would not build it out further.
Okay,
The
gotcha.
residents there already thought we went too far as it was, so I don't see that happening.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think he just has an idea of making it look really nice. But again, like I think Joe mentioned, I think a lot of the people we're hearing from feedback are like the just natural look to it instead of manufactured with planting trees. And, it's one of those things. I appreciate the gentleman with his ideas. I'm just not sure if it's the right fit.
Gotcha.
So we would table this tonight for more information.
If possible, the open space committee agreed to take a look at it. They, many of the members know Orlando, and are familiar with his previous work and have input.
So you want to refer? To
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, please.
Okay. Next request from Dave Gunner. He wants to declare the 1980 snow blower surplus and trade it to Lancaster, correct? Dave?
Yeah, I think this is a good idea. Lancaster has the equipment that it could attach to. When we bought our latest wheel loader, it's a cat model where the brackets don't mount anymore. So it costs us thousands to change it over. And we haven't touched that snowblower in probably 20 years. They're offering a very good trade. I think on the market, we probably could get about $5,000, just an estimate for what the value is. But just one day of paving, a paving crew is worth about $7,500. And between doing the bathroom project, the pickleball courts and the parking lots over there, it looks like it's going to be a pretty big savings to the town. And they do realize it, Chuck, just so you know, that this could be over 4 years, so they've committed to doing all the paving for that whole project. You're talking bringing in 2 rollers, a paving crew, 10 men. It's a pretty good trade. And they feel good about it. A snowblower is way worth it more for them in those suburbs where they have nowhere to put snow. The reason we bought it after the blizzard of 77 is back then we had gas motors in our plows. We didn't have the power we do now. So the chances we'd ever need a street snowblower have really diminished. In a worst case scenario, I do have the availability through Erie County Highway to borrow a street snowblower if we ever had the blizzard of 77. But it just has been sitting in our barn for 20 plus years. So I think it's a good trade.
Do we need to, you have an intermunicipal agreement to do this or?
No, we've done this before we've traded things before, as long as it's reciprocating, the worth, I believe, right, attorney?
I'll have to take a look at that.
Okay.
That would seem
We
like
need
this
a-
is an agreement material here where we're giving them that and in return, we're getting
We would
something
need a
else.
written agreement, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think he sent us a letter I provided with it, but I think the highway superintendent Lancaster has the authority to send his paving crew here.
Right.
So I don't know what more you want. We have an intermunicipal agreement
Right.
with all the towns already.
So we wouldn't need a specific agreement towards.
No, as far as for the paving crew, no, that's covered under mutual aid. We already have that. If you're talking about selling them equipment for free, as far as I'm concerned, we've done this before with other towns.
Okay.
I know it's not the first time our old paver, we did that with some town. I can't remember what. As long as we're getting a fair market value back, you're covering the taxpayer. But again, if you find I'm wrong, Martha did just get the 22 version, right? 2021 version of the new municipal agreement.
I did, and I forwarded it to the town attorney.
Okay, so we are updating that, Bridget. So if you could look at that, but that would cover his end, that's his business would send it to us. My business, make sure we're getting the proper pay for our value, Okay.
Good, thanks. Anything else, guys?
So I think we'll table it for today and do further research or
What was that?
Going to table it today, do further research, or
Yeah, you can table it. This, you don't need it for a year.
Right.
So don't feel, do it, whatever.
we're not in
makes
any
you
hurry. I
comfortable.
think this
we don't
feels
need
It's
to-
still in
like,
our barn. It's not going
Yeah.
away.
We don't need to table it. I mean, if
Contingent.
it happens, I mean, it's not going to happen right away, right? Yeah. So, I mean, if you find something else, we can always rescind it. So, and I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, we should have an agreement.
I don't really know if we need to have one or not. Bridget's going to check it.
I'm taking a look at the intermunicipal services agreement that the highway department is looking to renew. And I think what Dave is saying is that transactions like this should be covered broadly by this agreement. I don't know if that's the case because I haven't read it yet,
Yeah.
but perhaps they are. And then maybe we just have a short, more specific
Yes.
writing that
Right.
memorializes the specifics
and
of
I
this
think they're
particular
fine with that, too.
transaction.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't need much. I just, what I'm looking at right now is not sufficient. What happens if the highway superintendent is changed in 6 months or whatever? I mean, don't want to be difficult, but what we have cannot be sufficient.
Well, you can still declare it surplus tonight, though, correct?
That we can do.
Okay, because we're definitely getting rid of it. So we'll just leave how we're disposing of it for now.
Okay, next is the rails to trails discussion. I'd probably refer to Luke on this a little bit. He put something together on that.
Yeah, actually, Joe and I worked on this, and I see Jack is here and Connor is here. So do we want to have them come up maybe at some point? But a little bit of history, I guess, is that you have the Rails to Trails organization, which leases the old trail going through West Falls, Jewettville, and up through that part of the town of Aurora. They have it's their property to put a multi-use trail in with an agreement with the federal government. But we also have the Conservation Club, which is down in that shoots towards the trail. So both organizations have sort of drafted and negotiated a bit of memorandum of understanding. And really, Jack has updated us, and maybe you can update us a little bit more where they are on that. But it seems to me like we're at a point where we need to move forward on that. If what the Conservation Club is saying and what the Rails to Trails organization is saying, we should have both organizations working together in the future for many, many years, which is really our goal there. For tonight, what we have is taking the next step, not to put that issue behind us because it's not signed yet, but this is a letter that we would like to send out to residents around the trail so that we can not just concentrate on the Conservation Club, but also understand what the concerns are of neighboring landowners. Now, we know through the West Falls committee that we made, we have been able to identify some. We've put them in touch with the Rails to Trails organization. And as far as we know, Rails to Trails has been responsive and working with them, including a $18,000 investment with one of the houses that Jim and I went out to take a look at about a month ago. So what this is let's get this out to the neighboring landowners so that we're not missing anybody. Sometimes the quietest among us are the ones that, if they don't want to speak up, we may miss them over. I don't want to be in a position where we're, a month down the road and we think we've taken care of everything and we haven't. So I think this is a good idea to flush out any issues that we haven't seen and be able to deal with them.
Luke, I'm not quite so sure, and I'd like to get Jack's or Connor's input on this too, but I'm not so sure that the MOU is as far along as what you're stating there. I don't think that they're ready to sign that.
Well,
Jack,
I'm certainly willing to talk about the
Jack,
MOU.
Connor,
The agenda
come
for
up and-
today was this letter that we want to talk to the residents. So if we want to deal with that issue, and then we can certainly talk about it, more than willing to. But maybe if we want to concentrate on just this letter to try to talk to residents, that's kind of what we sent over. Jack,
I just don't want to mislead the residents into thinking that the Conservation Club and Rails to Trails have have an MOU that is ready to sign? Because I don't believe that's.
But I don't
where we are
believe
with
that, that's not in this letter either, Chuck. We're not making a claim that
Okay,
there's an MOU. That's a discussion. And Jack, we've engaged you obviously, as well as Deb Fenn to, you two have been in discussion. I understand. Is that, sure. Yeah. Please. Can you just come to the microphone, please?
give us your name.
I'm Jack Gokin with the West Falls Conservation Society. I'm the president. This situation has been going on for years. Last March, the ECAT group presented us with an MOU. I got back to Deb. We've had many meetings together and many conversations, and our relationship is way better than it was 25 years ago. At that point, it was very adversarial. So we have been working together for a solution for the Conservation Club. So they presented us with an MOU. We did not find it satisfactory. So I got back to Deb and said we were have to review it and get it back to them. Got it back to them after our attorneys reviewed it on May the 3rd of 2021. I got a response from her that day. I had presented to her via email. She responded that day saying they would have to review it and get back to us. That's the last I've heard.
Gotcha.
So we do not have any written agreement to this point. In addition to that, I've also asked for an agreement to, I guess, put in writing legally what they've committed to us in all these meetings, which have been, excellent meetings. We had their whole group out there to tour the facility to let them realize all the things that we do, and that indeed shooting events that we have there are part of the club. They're also part of the club that people pay for, and the reason that they're members, which enables us to do all the nice things that we do for all the kids groups and the things like that, and the donations and scholarships and such. So I believe it was Friday, sent back to Deb Fenn, including that MOU, another request to review it and get back to us. And I stipulated there that we're still interested in, having communications, having meetings and moving forward, but that to nullify all of the concerns that all the people and volunteers have at West Falls, we would really like to have something legal that binds them to what has been agreed upon. Nothing more than that, other than what they've already promised. With that in hand, intentions are wonderful. I'm not accusing anybody of anything here, but sometimes you can't achieve your intentions. So the object is that we continue as we have been since, the last 75, 78 years, whatever it's been, uninterrupted, and somehow come upon some sort of a device to convey the trail walkers through the property. So we're not shooting towards, we'd still be shooting towards them. They'd have to be totally protected. I had looked at, with a precast subcontractor, providing precast culverts, basically creating a concrete tunnel for 1,500 feet through the properties. It was in excess of $1 million of cost for the precast. At the time, I had also met with Rick Lefebvre, who's on the ECAT group. He suggested like a long Quonset hut tunnel. That being corrugated metal, you have the maintenance situation where how long will it last before it rusts enough that arrows and or lead shot could damage it. Keep in mind, all of our ranges are well over 90 yards from the shooting point to where the rail bed is. So could an arrow get there? Yes. Should it ever? Probably not. But certainly it could. And certainly you can't have the public walking down range where you're shooting.
Could is all that matters.
Could is
if it can, that's it.
Yeah. I can't envision anyone wanting to walk down range of either a trap field or an archery range.
And Jack, just to repeat what we have spoken about on several occasions, this board is not going to pass a resolution unless that resolution is clearly stating that the Conservation Club is going to continue in existence as it does. I spoke to Deb Fenn today, and she said she didn't get your email, so I forwarded it over to her, the one that you just forwarded to us today. So she said she didn't get it, and I think there's a little breakdown in communication. I really feel confident because when I talk to you, I talk to Deb, you're saying the same things, and I just want to move on like you did when we had the same
Absolutely.
conversation, because we have this trail that can go in no matter what we do. They could just build it today and then we're in a bad situation. So I see from them that they want to move forward. I see from you that you want to move forward. And so I'm not putting that to bed. We've got work to do. I think we want to take a little bit more active role in getting that. Let's finish this up and let's get it taken care of, because it's just going to, if we don't do it, then it's out of our control.
This letter is, the intention is just to go out to the residents that are affected in that area so that we can get their comments on it. It has nothing to do with Jack or anybody else.
Yeah, yeah.
So all it is a,
Yeah.
get them here and let's hear their complaints and see if the trails people can rectify them. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So the problem here is that we put so much effort into speaking with the Conservation Club. What I don't want to do is make the neighbors feel that we've let them out to dry by, hopefully you come to an agreement. We still have all those other issues. And those are things that we want to deal with. Now, this is a bit of a difficult situation because we have an organization that is saying they want to mediate all these issues. You see it when you read about other trails around the country. They're able to do so, but they only get the funding to do so once they get a positive resolution from us. So that's why this is important, that we flesh out all these issues. And if they say they're going to do what they're going to say, and they need that resolution, then there's certainly wording that we can find saying, we approve provided that you do this, you do that. And so what this letter is yes, trying to flesh out all those issues. Let's get a list of 100, 10, 5,000, however many there are, so that we can then determine what the next step is. And I think that's only fair to the residents that are living there, so that, and it was coming from the last West Falls Committee meeting when 2 or 3 of them said they had not received any communication from us as to what to do. So I know, everyone, it seems like everything, we always send over letters and everything.
Yeah. So this, in this, just to clarify, what we're referencing is a public hearing we haven't set yet for April 25th. Now, our next town board meeting is April 11th, but in your communication, you said you guys have a meeting that night. So we felt it would be unfair to have a public hearing on a night that the West Falls Conservation Society has a meeting.
I appreciate that very much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we certainly want to be here and voice our concerns.
Yep.
And again, we've heard all the promises from that group and they seem extremely sincere. But from a legal standpoint, the people who've donated their entire adult lives to our facility are terrified that they could lose this. And anyone can say they intend to do it, and anyone can believe that they can do it. But if they aren't successful in providing this, you've seen it. It's a difficult task. You're talking in excess of $1 million to create some kind of protection there, plus signage, plus electric, plus an access for us to get to our other property, both a driveway and a walkway that should only be one-way access so somebody doesn't come off the trail and get in a dangerous situation.
Yeah. What's ironic about this is that this is not nearly the first time that this has happened across the country, right? So when you speak to the engineers, there seem to be solutions that would allow this to keep going. But I do think that it's important to say that I don't want to speak for everyone on here, but I'm going to assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the Conservation Club needs to remain.
I very much appreciate that.
In the state that it has been. Now, there's no reason why we can't have two nice things.
Absolutely.
Right. And when you talk to the engineers, you talk to Go Bike, there are solutions out there. When you talk about the funding, there's funding out there. And so that's why I think we just let's be able to go to sleep at night and not have to worry about this issue anymore. Right. I don't want someone to plow through there one day and have it open. I don't want these things to happen. If everybody's saying the same thing, let's move forward and let's try to get something on paper.
And the other thing to consider is, like we've talked about for years, and that's rooting around the Conservation Club. Now, I've heard recently that they say they can't do that. Early on, that was one of their intentions.
Yeah.
And they were saying that the grade differential wouldn't be conducive to coming down Burr Road and going down 240 and back up Main, plus 240 is very narrow. But now that they're reconstructing Route 240 and they're tearing out that shoulder where all the drainage is, they're going to redo all that drainage.
Yep.
I'm in construction. So when they rip out that sidewalk and they rip out that drainage, they got to repair all that shoulder. And if they repair that with a bike lane / pedestrian walkway, it'll give them at least the option of going through town.
Yep.
Or maybe that in the interim would be their route until the construction of some sort of protection could happen behind the conservation
And
club.
I'm in favor of that in any event, because I think that have that path go through West Falls is going to be a great asset for the hamlet of West Falls. So yeah, we'll work with the engineers. I've sent out 2 emails now to the engineer. I haven't gotten a response yet, but Joe was talking to someone in Albany that will get that meeting set up, and we will definitely be talking about that. But
they mentioned in their prospectus that they had the X in the area that, yes, this will enhance pedestrian and bicycling traffic. So they have intentions of spending some dollars on that somewhere along that line. Of course, I don't,
Yeah, I think it'll come down to what, I think, I could be wrong, but I think their mandate is they have to develop the trail. Whether there's an alternative route as well.
Yeah, see, originally they did not say that.
Yeah,
they said they had intentions of going around it in Colden through town.
Gotcha.
So they may have changed. Maybe they found out from the railroad that no, you can't.
I do know there's like a national defense aspect of it, that they have to keep the rails and straight and on some sort of.
Well, I'm not saying they would abandon the line. They just wouldn't use that portion.
Yeah. Well, we'll get, this, like I said, the letter we're talking about today is just to make sure all residents are aware.
Yeah. I had not intended on speaking tonight, so I very much
I appreciate
your interest and asking for my input.
And we appreciate every time you come in, because like I've said over and over again, right? The intention is to keep 2 great things. And that if that was impossible, then we would be having a very different conversation. But it seems like it's possible.
It's difficult, but it's possible.
Right.
We just have to strive for that possibility and find out the answer.
Yep. So
and I'm available anytime.
I actually haven't been out to the club yet, so I'd like to
Get a hold of me and I'll give you a tour.
Yeah, I think I have your number from the email exchanges. So
actually, I propose an email actually maybe coming out on the 11th to actually speak at your meeting, if that's possible. I know we have a meeting the same night.
Yeah,
but
let
if we
me
could
know.
just come out and
you can speak during the regular meeting to the membership.
Yep.
So
I think Connor wanted to say something else.
I know you talked about having Connor Schneider. I know you had talks about the public hearing. I'd like to offer or suggest that with proper notice that the town board meet in West Falls and have the public hearing at the fire hall. I think you'd have a much better turnout if you had the meeting, maybe in conjunction with the next West Falls.
Our letter indicates that it offers the West Falls Advisory Committee on April 18th as well. Perfect. As an opportunity to
I just think
express concern.
You'd probably have better interaction with the residents. So,
but a board meeting on West Falls is an excellent idea. Whenever you got that from, it does seem like a perfect idea.
I think I got that from someone.
It's a good one. Yeah, we'll have to think about that.
Great, awesome, thank you.
Do you guys have internet out there?
We do. Yeah.
All right, excellent.
Would that be?
Do you mean West Falls in general,
or a public forum?
What's that for
this? Would that be a public hearing or a public forum?
You tell me.
It would be called a public informational meeting.
Informational, yeah, it wouldn't be a public hearing.
Okay.
So we might want to change the wording in there.
So what was it? Public informational forum, is that what you said? Meeting.
So back to the letter. Is there, other than that, or what form do we have to do? I would like to send it as a town board. Does it have to be passed as a letter then, or how would we do that?
I think you would just all agree that and vote on that you would send the letter to the residents and give some approximation where you want it sent to. So we can look it up on the tax rolls. Do you want it sent from Mill Road all the way down, or, the area that you want?
So I think any land that neighbors, that is adjacent to the rail, we would want to include
Throughout the town.
Yeah. And as far as the contents of the letter, if we change that public hearing to a PIM.
So we want to vote on sending this out tonight?
Then
we'll have to add it to the agenda. I don't believe it's on there. And then we'll just make the change on the from the public hearing to informational meeting.
Good.
Anything else? Okay. Right, we'll move right into our regular meeting. There's no public hearing tonight, so I'll move for a motion to approve the minutes of the March 14th, 2022 work session and meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Joe. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. And audience, this is an opportunity for anybody to address the board on any items that are on the agenda. If you do so, please come up and give us your name and address. Nobody online? Okay. We'll go to unfinished business. And this is the ODA on 10 Ellis Drive in West Falls that we talked about at the work session. If there aren't any comments or questions, I move the approval of the open development area at 10 Ellis Drive by owner of William and Rebecca Height.
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. You're welcome. Next, the baseball agreement. I think we agreed to table, so I have a motion to table that.
So moved.
Motion by Luke. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next item, new business.
Gotta add some.
Oh.
Add.
Yes. Yeah, I gotta add that. We want to add O, which is the letter going out to the residents of West Falls, an area that I don't know how you want to word this, Luke, to the properties that are.
Yep, a motion to add on the agenda approval of a letter to landowners adjacent to the property of the, what is the organization? Erie County Rail, ECRT Inc.
All right, motion to add O. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. New business, we have 5A, and this is the local law for the senior exemption in the rate structure. And I'll just read the public hearing notice. Please take notice that a public hearing will be held by the town board of the town of Aurora on the 11th day of April 2022 at 7 p.m. at the Aurora Municipal Center, 575 Oakwood Avenue, East Aurora, New York, at which hearing parties and interested citizens shall have an opportunity to be heard on the adoption of a local law of the town of Aurora for the year 2022 to amend Chapter 101 of the codes of the town of Aurora to increase the maximum annual income eligibility for senior citizens to receive real property tax exemption. All interested parties are entitled to be heard upon the proposed local law at such public hearing. Copies of said proposed local law are available for review at the office of the town clerk during normal business hours of the town website, www.townofaurora.com. So do I have a motion to set the public hearing for April 11th at 7 p.m.?
So moved.
So move.
Jim, I'll second.
All right. So we have a motion by Jim Granville and a second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have the CDBG grant for the senior center in the amount of $95,190. And for the list of items that we read in the work session, do I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign?
So moved.
Motion by Luke. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have a request by Kathleen Moffett to amend the capital projects, which had a deficit of $9,869.12 from the DA fund. And this was to an overexpenditure to some of the village bridges. And she needs to amend that capital project. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Majors Park and Hubbard entrance proposal. We discussed this in our work session, and this, we would like to refer this to the Open Space Committee. So I have a motion to do so.
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke. Any discussion? Got 2 seconds.
Third.
It must be a delay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried.
Aye.
Second.
Okay. Time delay.
That's right. I'm going through the Rocky Mountains.
We'll have to wait a little bit for you, Jim. Next, we have E, and this is the surplus of the snow blower. Trade with Lancaster. I think we decided tonight just to surplus it, and then our town attorney will make sure that we can trade. So do I have a motion to surplus?
So moved.
Motion by Luke and second by Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. We got to go a little slower, going too fast here. All right. Next, we have another item to surplus. The 1996 Gradle. He wants to put it on Auctions International, correct?
Yeah, we've done well there before.
Okay. We've been fixing that thing for years, and now that we've
Yep.
got the new excavator, we don't need it anymore.
Send it down the road.
Yep, trying to unload her. So do I have a motion to would we surplus that to be put on Auctions International?
So moved.
I'll second.
I'm just waiting for Jim.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a motion by Joe and a second by Chuck. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. And we have some more stuff with the town. Highway truck toolbox, parks lawn roller. We need to surplus. Are we going to put the same thing right through Auctions International? Okay.
Yeah, there's just some things that are been out back that
Okay.
nobody's used. So just cleaning out the
Okay,
barn.
so parks lawn roller and a toolbox for Auctions International. Do I have a motion to surplus?
So moved.
Motion by Luke. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, this is a request from Kathleen Moffett in regards to Water Improvement Area 7. And the final debt payment for Water Improvement Area 7 was made on May 1st, 2021. The remaining fund balance appropriated during the budget process was more than the actual fund balance at the year ending, resulting in a $799.08 deficit. After consulting with the town attorney, she requests approval to transfer that $799.08 from general fund A fund balance to Water Improvement Area 7 WM effective December 31st, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
By Luke. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Is there any discussion? Everyone understands what's going on? Yep. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Now we have I, This is a request from Elizabeth Cassidy to approve the civil service title change for Jennifer Calkins from clerk part-time to clerk part-time seasonal effective April 18th, 2022 through September 2nd, 2022. And this allows her to work up to 39 and a half hours to accommodate the building department during the busy season. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck, second by Luke. Any discussion?
So this is standard, right? Liz, is what you guys do every year. So just checking. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it is carried. This is a request from Chris Haven. Clerk typist to seasonal. Approval is requested. Change Stacy Blattner from clerk typist part-time to clerk typist part-time seasonal for 5 months beginning April 11th. This change enables Stacy to work more than the 19 and a half hours in a week, allowing the better office coverage in the spring and summer. This change to seasonal complies with Erie County personal regulations and does not negatively impact the budget. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Luke. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Request from David Gunner to appoint dog control officers for 2022. And he's requesting that we appoint Dave Thomason as the dog control officer for the town of Aurora. Also, please appoint Daniel Harris and Elizabeth DeVizio as assistant dog control officers for the town. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried.
I think there are like 4 David Thomasons in this town.
Oh, is there?
He's like, how can you can't be at the crossing guard at 2 locations at the same time and still be out on a fire call, you know?
How many Lukes are there in town?
Probably
only one, right?
One too many.
I didn't say that. He did. Okay.
I didn't get that joke, but my sense of humor is off a little bit, I guess.
Next, we have L, the request to hire a building maintenance mechanic. This is from Elizabeth DeVizio, hiring Michael Ingerfinger. Please appoint Michael of 876 Center Street, East Aurora, New York, as a building maintenance mechanic. His starting date will be on or after April 4, 2022. His hourly pay rate will be $30.66 an hour. Any questions? We have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Any discussion?
I think that this is a wise move. Dave and I have talked briefly about this, and I think this will help out a lot with the odds and ends that need to be done with our town
Thanks,
buildings.
Chuck. I know we interviewed him last summer, but we didn't get him to jump at that time. So I think we're really going to have a lot of improvements. And Joe, I know you've used him before. He's got a lot of talent. So
Yeah, I worked with him when I was with the county. He's a kind of a jack of all trades kind of guy. So I think he's really going to help out a lot.
Yeah.
So thanks for hiring him. I think it's going to work well.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Request from David Gunner. Approving the hiring of Kyle Olday as a seasonal part-time parks worker at the rate of $17.50 an hour. He worked for 2 years up until the pandemic, but was laid off during the pandemic. He's expressed the request to come back and be the future dog control officer. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, Jim Graham got that before you did. So.
Second.
And you get the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have a request from Dave Gunner to request the town board to hire a company to erect 2 softball backstops. And the quotes were as follows: a city fence and Iroquois fence declined The Capitol Fence put a bid in at $9,793. And they can install these in the month of May. Funds are to be distributed from TA 1000.0040 Parks Improvement Fund. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jim.
Yeah.
Any discussion?
So just to clarify, I see our baseball folks are gone, but I think we talked about this. These are the ones that they need for softball, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
These will be the two that they have to have to the two brand new softball fields. Obviously, they're going to want to play before that. So in the meantime, we'll put up the temporary little ones. Obviously it'll have to do until this company can show up. And then on top of it, we still have to get 2 loads of diamond dirt. And that's something for the next agenda. We talked about getting that through the capital fund as well. I believe, Jim, is what I was going to put in the request for.
Yeah, we're gonna,
We
we need to
just
talk
missed
about
this
how much we
agenda.
want to invest in the diamond dirt for all the parks. So
Yeah.
we'll do that at the next.
Yeah.
But we're still, I mean, we're working on the baseball agreement. I assume we're going to maintain some sort of dollar for dollar match. But we got to work that out, right? Because we're also going to ask them to pay a maintenance fee. So we'll have to find that sweet spot.
Yeah, there's we talked about a maintenance fee up and beyond that diamond dirt.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a lot. It was like $1,000
Yeah.
or something. I don't think it'd be correct not to charge something if we're going to be charging the arsenals. Just my thoughts, I don't want any backlash.
Yeah, Joe, just so you know, Rick Wells from the Beer League, our Glory Days League, I had to think about that one. He is donating in the next board agenda their share to another load in West Falls. Remember, Chuck, we're trying to, so it is coming together with them matching donations. So it's a nice thing. Just want to let you know that's coming.
Good.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have the letter to the residents concerning the rails to trails. We need a motion to send this out to the people that are properties are adjacent to the rails to trails in the West Falls area and changing the wording to from a public hearing to an informational meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke. Any discussion? Favor?
Is it going to be in this building?
Well, I'm sorry, what was that?
Is it going to be in this building?
The letter mentions, I didn't put the address of the building in. But it's, yeah, well, okay, so that's actually a good question, actually, because I mentioned an informational meeting here on April 25th.
Mhm.
And I also invited West Falls residents to attend the West Falls Advisory Committee on April 18th to make their feelings known. Do we have any problem with including both of those?
In
Or
the
that,
letter? No, but I need to know,
Yeah,
for the letter, I need to know
As long
where
as the
the,
address.
what,
where the meeting on the 25th is going to be.
well,
held.
I had originally pegged it as a public hearing to coincide with our town board meeting, but if we
Right.
want to separate the two, that's.
No, we're just
okay.
calling it, we're not calling it a public hearing, calling it a public informational hearing.
Okay, so here, yes.
Yeah, we should add the address to the letter.
So it's
This
here.
building, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but the letter also references a meeting, the West Falls Advisory Committee on the 18th, which is at the West Falls Fire Hall. If you need to add you feel it's appropriate to add an address to that as well. Thank you.
I think that one's okay, but we should at least put it the town, but let's put the address in at whatever Oakwood.
Any other discussion?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. All
Who
right.
has the letter? Is the letter in Word or is it PDF?
I sent it in Word to Luke
Okay.
I just forwarded the email.
and he forwarded it, so it should be in
I've got
Word.
PD Okay, Word. Okay.
Next, we have communication and reports. We have the East Aurora Police report for February 2022, and we have a letter from the GFOA. And that was kind of done this for almost 20 years now. Your government should have recently received an electronic correspondence that your 2020 comprehensive annual financial report qualifies for the GFOA Certificate of Achievement and for Excellence in Finance Reporting. And they gave us a plaque for this every year. So the town has had excellent financing for, it's almost 20 years now straight. So it was to our accountants and Kathleen Moffitt and Elizabeth and all the people in that.
That's great.
That do all that work that is above me. Next, we have business from the board members, and I'll start with Chuck.
A couple of things, actually. I'm happy to say that after probably a year and a half, or maybe even more, the new LED lights have been installed at the Main Street Library. This was a grant that we got through the Buffalo and Erie County Public Libraries, where they paid for all of the materials and at least 75% of the labor to do it. Scott Warning did it, Warning Electric did it, and it's going to have all those new LED lights. It's a cost to the town of $2,625. So it was a good deal, and it's really nice. I spoke to Paula, and she's very happy.
Great.
And the other thing I'd just like to mention quickly, Paul Hooch, I think is Paul from Ormsby. I think that's his last name, but I'm not sure. But the instructor for the storage shed at the senior center, he sent me a picture of it. It's all framed up. The roof is almost all on. There's Tyvek on it, so it's coming along nicely. They'll be putting the doors and windows in and the siding on, and it'll be here before we know it.
Great.
So,
Anything else?
nope, that's it.
Joe?
Now coming up, Chuck and I have a meeting with EA Baseball to look at the bathroom facilities and make sure that everybody's on the same page in terms of what the expectations are. And Chris, I believe, who's not here, is scheduled to join us as well, because I know there'd been some need for mediation there. So that, I think, is all I have.
Luke?
Just a thank you to Elizabeth and Nick. I don't know what you two did wrong to be here tonight, but thank you very much for making it smooth. I think that this is going to, we'll keep on going, keep on making improvements, but certainly appreciate it. And not many people online today, but they do watch. There's going to be one where it's really worth it. So thank you.
And just to add to that, as we go on, we're going to improve this as we talked with, we maybe some cameras and some better equipment, but one step at a time, baby steps, right? I have nothing tonight. So we'll go on to audience. Oh, I'm sorry, Jim. Keep forgetting you're not there.
That's okay. Yeah, and actually it is a couple things. I want to say thank you. I appreciate this is not something I intend to do again, even this year. But I had just a little bit of business in the Southwest, and most of it is just enjoying the landscape and the people and things like that. I appreciate Martha. Thank you so much for getting the agenda to all of us and the supporting papers so quickly as you did it. It gave me an opportunity to review it in my brother's office. The other thing too is, which was I didn't expect was fortunate, is that my brother's house is on top of a canyon, and down below there is a conservation club and a federal trail that goes right behind the shooting range of the conservation club. It's an identical situation, I think, to what's going on at West Falls and the West Falls Conservation Club. And so my brother, who happens to be the sheriff of that county, set up a meeting with myself and the president of the Conservation Club, just so I could get some information on what they did, because there were struggles, and it was, the federal government has their might, and they were going to put the trail there, but they wanted to respect the club, and they did, and it's been a good working relationship for many, many years now. So later this week, I'm going to sit down and talk with them. And I hope it'll maybe give us some ideas that we hadn't thought about before as far as the Erie Cattaraugus Rail Trail. So thanks I appreciate you letting me setting things up so I could be involved tonight, and maybe I'll have some information for our next meeting. Thank you.
Great, Jim. Thanks. Okay, we'll move on to audience. And this is an opportunity for anyone to address the board on any items. If you do so, please come up to the mic and give us your name. Nobody? Anybody online? Nobody? Okay, we'll go right to staff reports. I'm going to start with Liz because I know she's got a buzz.
Just one quick thing. Next month, you will be receiving the annual MS4 report. And then you'll have to schedule a public hearing for that. And then there's a time period for public comment as well. But that lovely report is coming due next very, very soon to your desks. And if you have any questions on that, you can just give me a call. And that's it.
Greg?
I know Liz has got to get going, so I don't have any comments tonight.
Nothing? Nothing. Shane?
Nothing tonight.
Connor? Tim? Adam, you know, I always miss you. Rod? For the library? Nothing? Okay. Dave? Okay. Did I miss anybody? No? Okay. And I need a motion to approve the abstract.
So moved.
Motion by Luke. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Like my Chuck. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you very much for coming.
Hey, Shane, can we snag you for just a second?
Shit, I forgot.
Yeah, for
Yeah, I said it, but he was looking down, so he wasn't saying anything.